So the developing young Galway team faced the challenge of Munster champions Kerry. Watching this one, Tom Carr and Marty Morrissey.
This is the Kerry team that started the Munster final with one exception. Michael Gainey comes into the side at wing forward for the injured Stephen O'Brien. Brian Kelly is now clearly first choice goalkeeper with experience galore in front of him, like Mark O'Shea and Aidan O'Manning. It's a strong centre field with Anthony Marr and Brian Sheehan, while the inside line of Paul Gainey, Declan O'Sullivan and James O'Donoghue are all top-class footballers. The good news for Galway is that centre-back Gary O'Donnell starts this quarter-final after recovering from a shoulder injury. Tomas Healy retains the goalkeeping position, while up front Shane Walsh will be the man to watch at centre forward. One late change sees John O'Brien replace the injured James Kavanagh. Moran gets a touch. Killian Young gathers and delivers quickly. Same town that we were here last night watching the qualifiers. Hopefully it will stay like that. Kerry playing from left to right, and away comes Paul Gainey. Declan O'Sullivan. Down towards the danger man, James O'Donoghue. A quick release, fires Donegal Walsh, and that is over the bar in the very first attack produced by the Kingdom.
Yeah, good score by Donegal Walsh, but it's a typical score on what the boys in the studio have just outlined, how the full forward James O'Donoghue playing at full forward at the moment, coming off the line, switching it out. And
a lot of short passing in the Kerry half of the field with no gain in terms of ground or territory, but hitting it with great power is Michael, covered from that shoulder injury against Tipperary to take his place at 6. Going forward is Garrett Bradshaw. Thought momentarily about taking a shot. O'Donnell lays it back again. Third attempt at getting a score, and the third attempt. This is Shane Walsh, ex-St. Jarlath star, under-21 All-Ireland medalist 2 years ago. Gives it everything. Will it curl enough? I don't think so. To Moran, who'll go for the score in Kerry's second attack, and with the outside of the boot scores a beautiful point. Look at the way he kicked the ball, but emphasize one thing here in your own mind: this is Kerry's second attack only.
Yeah, but this is what Kerry are very good at. I mean, Galway have had 5 of those opportunities.
Gathers and delivers quickly. James O'Donoghue. Third attack for Kerry. Chance here, over the bar. Good play by Michael Gainey, getting his first point in this All-Ireland quarter-final.
Yeah, it was the build-up to that score. The ball popped inside, and if you notice, Martin,
pass is a poor one.
But like the old saying goes, Marty, you need forwards to win games, and certainly Kerry have the forwards so far, and they have the shooting boots on, and yeah, it may not be represented on the pitch, but that makes no difference whatsoever. There's no remarks column after the scoreboard.
Kerry man waiting for the tap down was Killian Young. Johnny Buckley inspects. Backtracking is Tom Flynn. James O'Donoghue looks sharp. He's willing to take on the Galway defence. Here he goes! What a brilliant goal! Unstoppable. Thomas Healy was sprawling himself across the air, but he couldn't reach James O'Donoghue's rocket here. He took off, and he couldn't be stopped.
Yeah, and really he sidestepped O'Neill. He was the first man to blow the cover. He should really have stood up. It's easy set-up scores when you have that amount of room and that amount of possession.
Aidan O'Mahony to David Moran. Michael Gainey. It's that man again. James O'Donoghue going for goal number 2. He opts for the point. Well, Colin Cooper might be injured, but boy, have they a replacement in this young fella.
Well, straight away, Marty, you would have to say that Donal O'Neill will have to be moved off James O'Donoghue. He's after sidestepping him twice.
Get tight, Josh!
Anthony Marr. Good strong play by Finian Hanley. Comes back out for his Declan O'Sullivan. Michael Gainey back for his O'Sullivan, who even I heard the call because he was in a better position, and that's over the bar.
And you can see the problem even from the initial attack when it came in. The ball was punched back out. There was 4, 5, 6 Galway players around it, but still none of them were alert to it, and it was O'Sullivan who picked it up. And
the corresponding match 12 months ago. Paul Varley, Fintan O'Curry, Tom Flynn, backfires Micheál Lundy. He could score from here, and that's exactly what he's done. Galway are up and running after 18 minutes, and you know, Tom, in the last 2 games, as we mentioned earlier, Galway have conceded 7 goals, and every time the ball goes in to that Kerry full forward line,
when they come in, they're allowing the Kerry forwards to lead off their men, giving them 3 or 4 yards. That means they can twist and turn and even face the goal again.
Paul Ganey, first free. Quite easy for him. Well caught by Fintan O'Curry. Coming through the middle, it's Garrett Bradshaw. Tom Flynn recovered well. Bradshaw again, coming from a right half-back position and scoring Galway's second point of the game. The first after 18.5 minutes, the second after 21.5.
And I know we could say woulda, coulda, shoulda, but really, Marty, they should be 5, 6 points. It should be a tight enough game, a close enough game, but for the misses. Garrett Bradshaw and all that half-back line can now throw caution to...
Ray. Outside the Kerry 45, as you can see now. And that's over the bar. A badly needed score from the tribesmen.
Yeah, and you kind of get the feeling that Galway are not out of this game.
You want to take the ball quickly. Killian Young opts instead to give it to David Moran. Well won by Paul Ganey. Finian Hanley and Garrett Bradshaw between them. Avert the danger. Here's Tom Flynn. He scored a goal in the opening half against Tipperary, and the pitch is opening up in front of him. On the 20, on the 13, what can he do? Oh, it's a goal for Galway! What a score! Just when the Galway fans and the football team themselves needed a bit of inspiration, Tom Flynn delivered with an incredible goal. Look at this.
It was incredible stuff, Marty. I've seen a lot of good goals in Croke Park, but from a midfielder, young midfielder like that, who was like
that goal, which they did thanks to Tom Flynn, but they're very much back in contention here. Paul Ganey with the fray, and the ball is wide. Johnny Buckley taking this, and it's just sneaking inside that far over left-hand post.
O'Rourke are here with me in studio. 2 of our analysts said after about 15 minutes of that half, this game is over.
These 2.
Does anybody want to own up?
The game is over.
Before I name names.
The game is over. The game's over, like, make no mistake about it. Galway are a team of ghosts, the team that wasn't there. I mean, you've got to compete. Kerry are just going through the motions. Kerry started off quickly. But I mean, Galway kicked 5 wides, which illustrates the fact that they're not focusing on the game. They're not competitive. They don't believe they're going to succeed. So they kick 5 wides and 5 attacks. Kerry have 1 attack and it's 1-0. You know, and then in a very short space of time, it was 1-3 to no score. Galway are simply not competing. Now, you know, you've got to go at a team, and whenever Galway did that for the goal,
as the one guy who didn't say that this game is over. Do you agree with him?
He never says anything. He's like the younger breed of politician who says, "Well, I'm glad you asked me that question."
I just let Joe talk. You know, I was sitting away from him out there. Listen, for the first 10 minutes, they did control the game. They kicked wides, but they controlled the game, and they didn't take advantage of it. And once Kerry settled into it, they held Declan O'Sullivan in for that first 10 minutes. He drifted back out into that middle part of the pitch, right? Kerry got on top in the middle sector, and they started shooting balls in, and they took a huge lead, obviously.
But they're not even pushing themselves.
Galway,
Kerry aren't even having to push themselves.
They lost their way for the last 5 or 10 minutes. Now, I don't disagree. I think that Galway are going to struggle. I think they're all over the place in the full back line. I don't think they're able to hold that Kerry full forward line, and I can see more damage being done as the day goes on.
Well, seeing that you've labelled everybody now, I suppose they better run up. But I think the best way always to beat Kerry is catch them late. And maybe Galway are trying to lull them into a false sense of security and then come with late goals. But they did show Galway when they did make a bit of an effort, when Tom Flynn ran straight at them. they have created plenty of chances, but I can't understand the Galway marking arrangements. In the full back line there, I would have considered that you'd put your most experienced defender on the most difficult attacker. Should have been Finian Hanley for me. Now, he may not be the greatest man marker in the world, but you've got to say to your most experienced defender, you must lead from the back today. You take on their best attacker, you mark him. End of story. Don't give it to a young fella who's playing his first game.
I think
There's not much point in having a defender dropping off and playing inside the line against James O'Donoghue, where he wants the ball here or here.
Yes.
The sweeper's got to play out there and force the ball to the sideline. What the sweeper in fact doing, he's playing down the middle. He may as well not be there at all.
Well, I suppose I was no surprise that James O'Donoghue was going to do damage one way or the other today in this match.
Well, I mean, we
looked
at Kerry's pattern of play before the game. They rotate quickly out of their full forward line at the last minute to allow him space. And the goal was a classic example of
Declan O'Sullivan. Nice little pick-up. The referee had indicated he was allowing the advantage. No advantage accrued. So, free to Kerry. Here's James O'Donoghue. Oh, it's beautiful. It's curling. He makes it look so easy. That's a goal and 2 points for James O'Donoghue. This is class.
Yeah, he makes it look so easy, Marty, but it is easy for him. That's the problem, because don't know the same amount of possession.
Shane Walsh scored 1 point in the first half, going for a second. Straight over the black spot, never in any doubt. And Sean Armstrong, but again, it's so easily deflected and blocked. It was clearly anticipated.
Such naive attacking, Marty. Just look at it like that. The ball actually should have been slipped on the right-hand side on the way in that time, not out to the left, and it wasn't even past the man. They still had a defender to defend. When you give him the pass, you need to go by the defender.
Michael Gainey lays it off. There's a chance here for Donegal Walsh. What's he going to do? He's going to put it over the bar. Good ball inside, and again, the contrast with Galway. Kerry decisive and indeed incisive.
And from breaking down the Galway attacks, that's where the Kerry scores are coming from, because Galway have thrown caution to the wind. They're easily for Kerry forwards who are as talented as they are. Galway need to kill the ball at the other end. They're better off kicking it wide than losing it there.
Ball breaks for Donegal Walsh. James O'Donoghue laying it back as Johnny Buckley. Simple 1-2 and over the bar. And I'll emphasize it again. Kerry jigging to the left, jigging to the right. The ball is loose. Kerry have it. Good work by Fionn Fitzgerald. He's under severe pressure. O'Shaughnessy pass.
I think that's a very harsh free, Marty. I mean, the first one could easily been given as well, but he wasn't going to give a penalty for an innocuous tackle like that. But certainly, yeah, okay, there was a bit of slapping of the ball, but that happens in every tackle.
And Galway have it back. Right man, right place. Shane Walsh needs a little bit of support. Paul Conroy went on for Sean Armstrong. Pass is better this time. It's Garrett Bradshaw coming inside and shooting over the bar. Much better, Galway.
I think that was a very harsh decision. If it was out the field, I think it would have gone the other way for overcarrying.
Micheál Lundy, better ball, down for Paul Conroy, slipping one through. Sean Armstrong, oh, beautiful pass. Micheál Lundy, what can he do? He can score! Galway are back in this quarter-final. They do have forwards in the West, and Galway are beginning to show a bit of character and bottle. Lovely 1-2 with Armstrong. Micheál Lundy was coolness personified, slipping it past Brian Kelly.
But that's exactly what they haven't been doing in the first half, Marty. That little slip ball inside, there's plenty of space in there, and to give it back to the oncoming player, that's...
And here they come again. This is Shane Walsh. What can he do from there? He can score! Oh my word! Game over. Not at all. Who said that? 42 minutes played into the second half. It's Kerry 1-11, Galway 2-6.
But we all...
And Killian Young. Donegal Walsh. Mark O'Shea. Anthony Marr. Paul Gainey. It's dropping just over the crossbar. Fabulous kick by Paul Gainey. Look at the balance, look at the skill. And what about the finish?
Yeah, well, watch the dummy there, Martin. When he took it back off his right foot and kicked it to his left, there was no other Galway player coming to meet him, and that's what a blanket defence is about, is when you get back there, you've got to work back there, not just standing.
Straight to David Moran. A hard-working Donald O'Neill, but it's Kerry that have it, and there's a chance here. Difficult angle. But the Kerry forwards are very, very sharp, particularly Paul Ganey. An acute angle, and he still manages to score his 4th point. Micheál Lundy. Tom Flynn. Back to Lundy again. Gets by the initial challenge. It's 1 against 1 up here. Goalkeeper comes off his line and then loses it. Sean Armstrong has it. There's nobody immediately in front of the goal. He gives it to Paul Conroy, and the ball is wide. Look at the second half possession, 62% for Galway. And they're rocking and rolling again here. Damien Comer hits it. Will it curl? Will it what? Brilliant points. Well, the 2 substitutes, Sean Armstrong and now Damien Comer, have added spice, added strength and added decisiveness to the Galway attack.
And just
3 points between the teams. Long ball up fires Paul Ganey, who's causing problems. Good straight at the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper saved to stay for Declan O'Sullivan. Danica Walsh is chasing after it, and Galway living. Called out and then delivered to Micheál Lundy. Lundy has to go back to gather it, despite the tenacity of Paul Murphy. Shane Walsh. Not too many options immediately available, but he has the composure and the confidence to retain possession and then creates the angle and then shoots. Fantastic. 10 out of 10, Shane Walsh, for his 4th point of the match.
Well, that was audacious, Marty. There's no doubt about that. He looked up for 3 or 4 seconds to see was there an option. It wasn't, and he put it onto his left foot.
Much pace and Kerry counter-attack. Peter Crowley intercepting. Down fires Danica Walsh. Over fires Darren O'Sullivan. Keith Kelly with him. Ball into the middle. Geeney sending it across to James O'Donoghue. Here he goes. Right, left. Back of the net. Does it? It's not. It's wide.
It's back of the net, Marty. It's the wrong net, and I thought it was in the net as well, because you would expect a player like that to stick it in the back of the net. And Galway living on their nerves, and they will kick themselves if they look at the video of this game, and they have another game to play this year, because they're getting such an opportunity out there, being a 4. And Kerry have totally lost their way in this game. They look even tired out there at the minute. They look that they don't have a plan. The creativity has gone out of their play.
Danica Walsh. Good ball. Great ball. James O'Donoghue. He won't miss the second time, and he puts it over the bar. Goal and 3 points. This is personal tally, and it's back to 3 points between the teams.
He really has been Galway's nemesis right from the beginning. They just don't seem to have a man.
Mark O'Shea. Shane Enright. 2 against 2. Finian Hanlon somehow managed to get it away. Comes to Barry John Keane, and that is over the bar. But to be honest, that should have been dealt with a lot better.
Oh, Marty, that's very poor defensive play, very poor individual play. I mean, the ball was there, was sitting up for Finian Hanley, a man of his experience, didn't need to put his fist to it. He didn't need to rise off the ground for that ball. He could.
They had the momentum there for a while, and they need this to reduce Kerry's lead to 3. And he glides it over the crossbar.
And to be in this game because Kerry are not nailing it.
Peter Crowley. Good ball. Fires Barry John Keane, who goes for the point, and that's a very quick response from the Munster champions. Always a sign of a good team, lots of character when they can respond to a score down at the other end.
Difficulty is Marty.
Great catch by David Moran, who's played well. James O'Donoghue. He Could go for a point from there. That's what he's done, and that's what he gets. 1 goal and 4 points for James O'Donoghue today, but he really is a class act.
Marty, he is not going to get that space for the rest of the championship. He stands back, he has a look, he's able to take the kick, there's no twisting, there's no turning, he doesn't have to fight a man off to shoot.
Players converge around him, he still manages to get the ball through. Ends up with Shane Walsh, Micheál Lundy. A wall of green and gold jerseys in front of him. Paul Conroy shoots and scores. Much better out of the Galway captain, and it's his first point in this All-Ireland quarter-final.
Well, they keep making us think they're in the game, Marty. At least they're doing that much, but if you look at that score and the amount of time the ball
To the country is on at the Kerry team for Mark O'Shea, Peter Crowley. Lovely, lovely football from James O'Donoghue. He really is impressive. He mightn't be marked that tightly, but he certainly has all the skills required.
Again, Marty, look at that score. He dummies on the left. There should have been a man covering on his right.
James O'Donoghue again to Paul Ganey. The two of them have been a major threat to Galway, as has indeed Barry John Keane, who has been quite impressive since introduced. That's his second point. He's along the ground. Considering his hard work, maybe he deserved a little bit of luck. Good ball over for Darren O'Sullivan. Willing to take on Keith Kelly, Stale O'Sullivan, and he soloed it almost into the arms of Thomas Healy. And Keith Kelly picked up. Micheál Lundy pumping one in to see if they can get a break here, and they possibly have it as well. There's a chance of a goal, and the goalkeeper Brian Kelly saves. Off the boot of Damien Comer. But the Killarney Legion goalkeeper, following in the footsteps of Johnny Cullity and Peter O'Leary, deflected it up. Loose ball picked up by Michael Ganey to Kieran O'Leary, straight between the posts.
Yeah. Well, just all too easy, Marty, really. All the scores, 10 I think you said have been scored from playing the second half, but
11.
they've all been 11
12
now,
now,
11, 12 now. They've all been easy scores, plenty.
What will they take out of this? What will they take out of today's performance?
I thought overall Galway were quite poor today. I know that the likes of Michael Lundy and Shane Walsh put up stern resistance, and there was a time with maybe 20 minutes to go where they were making a bit of a match of it. But overall, I thought Galway were outclassed, even by a Kerry team that didn't impress me that much. So it seems maybe a bit of a contradiction. But 10 points against 20 points tells its own tale for me from this particular game. Now, I think Alan Mulholland will be happy. He's got his team to Croke Park, and he's still in the second division. What Galway need is to get from the second division of the league to the first division next spring, and they might be in a better position. But they currently don't have the strength and depth on their panel to make any sort of impact on the top 4 or the top 6 sides.
By contrast, Kieran Whelan, how will Eamon Fitzmaurice assess this situation as they prepare now for a semi-final?
I think there'll be aspects of the performance to be disappointed with. They conceded 2 soft goals. You've got to ask the question, are they over-reliant on James O'Donoghue? As much as his brilliance, he's arguably the best forward in the country at the moment, but they're over-reliant on him, and it's like Galway were very naive in the way they dealt with him today. So it has raised question marks. I don't think Kerry, we reserved judgment after the Cork game because Cork were so poor. So, I think they've plenty to work on. I don't think they're at the level that Mayo and Dublin are at.
The shame of it is, of course, that O'Donoghue is a brilliant player, and in the days of Sheehy, etc., he would have been allowed to strut his stuff, but he's going to run into these teams now. He's going to start hitting. If they hit the Donegal, for example, would simply double mark him. Just be a ruthless, sort of cold-blooded decision to double mark him, and they'll double mark him properly. I think the problem with Galway is just no competitive zeal. They're not a serious team. They're not seriously organised. They didn't come here with real ambition. To play championship football here, you got to throw yourself into it, body and soul, and. You had a situation where Kerry were bringing on their subs who were casually lofting over points. I don't think Galway learned anything from this.
Surely Galway wanted to win this match.
I think they didn't. But I'll tell you.
They would have. You said they came here with no ambition.
You might have wanted in the way that the Rose de Treleal say that she'd like world peace, but she's not actually serious about world peace. The point about it is that Galway didn't come here.
Those Galway players have put in an awful lot of time and effort
Michael,
and training and everything else.
We know all that. Well, we could say that about everybody in every game. There's no point in patronising them. The reality is that they didn't come here believing that they could win the game. They didn't have a game plan to win the game. They didn't play seriously. They didn't compete body and soul. They won't be utterly exhausted.
No, they created enough chances. They created enough chances to be in the game. They kicked a lot of stupid wides. And I tell you what was effective.
You think those boys gave everything they had to give? You're living in the dream world.
Kerry play a defensive system. They get bodies back. They forced Galway to kick from difficult positions today. It's quite effective because it sucks everyone back into the Kerry half, and then they've the space for O'Donoghue. Now they would be disgusted to conceding 2 goals, but they made it difficult for Galway.
We got a great start, yeah, which hasn't been a hallmark of our play so far this year, so we were delighted with that. But we seemed to take our foot off the gas, and Galway reacted well. They got Tom Flynn, their midfielder, got a great goal. He drove through the middle, and it really gave them life and brought them back into the game. So, without a doubt, like I said, we're far from the finished article, but we're just happy now to be looking forward to an All-Ireland semi-final.
Kerry have a good side. They've 2 inside forwards are exceptional. We tried our best to handle James O'Donoghue today. Put different guys on him, put second guys in front of him, and he still, I think, came away with 1-5. So we can't beat ourselves up. They're a good side. We came reasonably close to them today. We have a lot of improving to do, but we have a young side, and there is talent in that dressing room there.
And probably reasonable summing up from both managers. Martin McHugh, what was the difference between that game and the Cork-Mayo game?
I suppose there are a lot of niggly incidents in the Cork-Mayo game. They're not there. It was more like a challenge game. And from Galway's point of view, you're never going to beat Kerry just trying to play them at football. You've got to get in about them and try to hurt them that way. But Kerry were average today. Other than James O'Donoghue, he's making the difference. They haven't got great strength in the middle of the field, I thought, watching today. And they're going to have to improve a lot to put it up to Mayo. But just other than James O'Donoghue, who's a quality player, I think they're just totally dependent on him at the minute.
Kevin, it was interesting in the start because Galway had a great start, hadn't they? And yet they couldn't score, and Kerry, with far less possession, were very effective.
Well, a very inexperienced team, perhaps. There's a lot of that, the recent Galway Under-21 champion teams in Croke Park in a quarter-final are, trying to make a name for themselves. They're a bit snatchy, but it was in complete contrast to the Kerry men, who just threw the ball around, got their free man, and of course when you have Donoghue as the top free man,
it's deadly, isn't it?
Well, as Martin was saying here, solo with the left, dummy, bang with the right, back to the net. But in that opening 18 minutes is the little bit we're analysing. They finished up at 1-5, the Kerry men, and Galway had 6 wides. Like, that just drains the confidence of young men. They learned today the hard way that you must respect opportunities. When chances present in these big matches, you have to take a decent proportion of them. The problem for Galway is it just got worse. It got worse as they got to half-time. I think they got up to 10 or 12
they had
wides.
10 before half-time.
10 before half-time. But the opening quarter was, the really hard part for them to endure. They just got wide after wide, from distance, a bit snatchy.
Is that because they couldn't penetrate the defence?
I'd say a lot of it is inexperienced, as sometimes you can't penetrate the defence. You can go and try and generate a free for yourself, but they just got up and glad to be away from the tackle and swing a leg at it, and also putting the ball sky high when they could have been just curling it more gently over the bar.
Dermot, you were looking at what you thought might have been the weakness in attack.
Yeah, well, I know, as Kevin has mentioned there, a huge amount of wides, but this game could have been a lot different. And, if we see it here, here's Gareth Bradshaw going forward, and just stop it there. He draws the 2 Kerry defenders, but if he looks inside, you have Michael Lundy and Paul Conroy, and that, is a certain goal. It's almost a 3-on-2, but he takes it kicks it over the bar. They get their score. Now, this is good work by the Galway defence. They turn it over, but this is where Paul Conroy looks. If he just had looked up instead of snatching like Kevin talked about there, you had Lundy again inside, and that's another possible goal there. I mean, you looked at all the space and the form that he was in today. He was one of Galway's better players. Again, if you look at this one, Conroy gets the ball now. He looks up. He sees John O'Brien inside. He's just raising his arm up there. You can't just do that. You have to make a run, and we can see where to go there. He's not moving at all, and he forces Conroy, because he doesn't look up, over out to the sideline. He can't kick it now because the Kerry man will cut it out there, and it's kicked out over the sideline. I mean, if you look at the wides, if you look at that poor play, we saw some excellent Galway play, but if you look at that poor play, 2 possible goal chances, it could have been a different story. And I think, going forward for Galway. This is going to be a big learning experience for them. And if they can really look at this, analyse it, you know, they're playing some of the top players in the country there. Looked how they play, got a lesson on forward play. You know, they can improve as well.
Yeah. Let's talk about midfield for a minute, because Kerry lost Brian Sheehan really early on, and that had a consequence, hadn't it?
Well, I think Brian Sheehan is an excellent player, and you can see him, he was walking off here with a knee injury very early on in the game, and we don't like to see that, but, you know, he's playing well at midfield, but he's also the free taker. Now, this is an easy one. You know, there's no issue here. Paul Geaney pops it out, but if we go out the field, this is his distance, and this is where he would absolutely nail these consistently. Now, Johnny Buckley kicks that one over, but he misses the next one. And these are the ones that, you know, Brian Sheehan would kick. The bread and butter
the top teams have left, right, and bring out the goalies the odd time as well.
And we see David Moore in there, who came on and had a good enough game, but he again missed the free. So that's 4 different free takers that they had. Look, they have 3 weeks before they play Mayo in an All-Ireland semi-final. Every top team, as Kevin just said, has a free taker.
It's interesting that the likes of James O'Donoghue, who's very accurate, doesn't kick the frees for them, especially with Cooper not playing. You know?
Well, you see, the thing is, that's fine, close to goal, and they are very accurate. But when you go out the field, it's the range.
That second wasn't that far out, you know, the one.
It's far enough, especially when there's a little bit of a swirling breeze.
But the bonus ones, Dermot, that Sheehan would get, the 50-metre ones, the 55, the ones out on the sideline, they're killer points when Kerry scored them. The killer points for the opposition.
It's interesting, Martin, you found a flaw in James O'Donoghue, because the space being made, and it wasn't just him, the other forwards are making space for him as well. I mean, it's great to watch. It's fabulous to watch, isn't it?
Yeah, we just see it here from great camera work from behind the goals, where you can just see it's their movement. I'll tell you, it's great to have a great footballer, a brilliant footballer, top-class footballer, but if he's a worker, it's better. That's what you need, and that's the modern-day game you need. We see it here, and to Declan O'Sullivan, the way they kick past, and it's to James O'Donoghue in here inside. Now, we have to give Paul Geaney credit inside too. Very unselfish player, makes the runs, goes to Donoghue Walsh and over the bar. Short play. Now, they mightn't get away with that against, you know, a team like Mayo or some of the Ulster teams not there, but the way they do it, we see it here again. Look at unselfish runs is what it's all about inside, making the space and knowing how you're playing inside, and this is the difference. This makes the quality. This is the way you coach player. Look at the Galway player, Hanley, is looking into his feet. You can't mark a player like that. You've got to look out the field. No sweeper. Say, what's this? This is just pure class.
Actually,
It's Donald O'Neill takes the solo of the left foot and the right foot.
But the turn there, the turn and pace was excellent.
I'm going to make a point here. He's a better player than Cooper, in my opinion. He's one of the greatest I've ever seen. In my opinion, Cooper's a 2-trick pony. That lad there is a 6 or 7.
You can't say he's a 2-trick pony.
Yeah, it's just, I just really believe that he's different. He's different.
We got to go back to the All-Ireland semi-final last year.
For 12 years.
I'm just making a point what I feel myself about him. Just having watched him, studied him,
James O'Donoghue,
I think he's one of the best.
Martin.
There's going to be civil war in Killarney.
He's starting out on
he has the potential. He has the potential to be as good as the Gooch, but he has a long road to go.
Dermot, the greatest footballer I've watched has been Matt Connor. Matt Connor was gone at 24. At 21 and 22, he's a class player. James O'Donoghue is different, folks. He's just totally different. He can use the ball different. He's got pace. He's got 2 feet. It's interesting listening to an interview he did. Just a simple thing. An interview he did earlier on. He said his dad used to say to him, "It's garden time." Out in the garden, 2 feet, practicing, working on what he was doing. James's dad.
A great footballer
I'm
too.
just saying, I really believe that this is the most exciting player I've seen in Gaelic football
Gooch would
for a long time.
Gooch would say it's All-Ireland winning time, and he goes out and wins them.
He might never win an All-Ireland. There's nothing to do. You might never win an All-Ireland. He doesn't have the same quality of player one. He's just class. He's carrying that Kerry team.
I want to remove myself from that. I couldn't possibly agree with that.
All right. OK. Time to name our man of the match for this game. Kevin, you've the nominees.
We thought about Gooch for a while, but as soon as he wasn't playing, we couldn't go with him. Paul Geaney, actually, just mentioned to James, I don't know, Paul Geaney, very similar player and has a lot of talent and real potential, and had a smashing game today, 4 points from play.
Better than Gooch.
Better than Gooch, yeah, I give him that today. Michael Lundy, the Kerfin lad for Galway, I thought he put in a power shift today for Galway. The goal, smashing goal, took it well. And the aforementioned James O'Donoghue, who he was fantastic today. And he's been fantastic all season, and he was our 3rd nomination.
OK. But who gets the award, Dermot?
Yeah, for the second game in a row, the player that has the potential to be as good as the Gooch, James O'Donoghue.
All right. 2 in a row for James. Well done to him. Let's hear from him now.
James, 1-5 in any match, I suppose, is impressive, but in an All-Ireland quarter-final at Croke Park, it must be particularly pleasing.
Yeah, I mean, it was nice to get the scores at the end, but I think we went through good phases of the game, not really functioning up front as we might have liked, so I think we have a lot to work on, that's for sure, definitely.
Did you find you had a lot more space than you might have expected?
No, I think Galway did well in the first maybe hour of keeping it nice and tight. They dropped a few men back and we got a few scores in the end to counteract that, but definitely stages in the game where we could have done better, I think.
OK, well, you did well enough with your 1-5, and that's why you are the Aircom World Team Man of the Match, and Jerry King from Aircom is here with your award.
Thanks, Jerry. Thanks very much. Cheers.
Yeah, well done to James. Right, stay tuned because still to come.
On offer, will it be Australia or